Hey guys, this is Todd Wilkes with TCW Homes. We're going through a list of multiple questions that people have asked us over the last few months and seeing the videos that we've been putting out, and we're just getting a lot of response and a lot of questions. So I've already put some answers out. First 5 answers have already been put out in a previous video. If you haven't seen it, go check it out. But let's finish this list up. We're gonna start off at number 6 through 10. All right, so the next question is, what kind of disruptions are we gonna have on our project, a day-to-day on our renovation? And that depends on the type of renovations. Obviously, if we're doing a kitchen, there's gonna be some downtime where the guys are doing stuff or waiting for material. So those aren't gonna be very big destructive days. There's not gonna be a lot of guys on the job. And then the next day, everybody can show up all at once to start work back again. The project managers work with the customers on a schedule and a timeline to determine how it's going to happen inside the house and making sure that the customer has an understanding of what's the next step. When we do bathrooms and kitchens, it's kind of a walking process, one foot in front of the other. We've gotten really good at this. We're doing it for the years that we've been doing this. The whole house renovations, those are a completely different animal, but the customers aren't really in the house, or they're not in the house while we're doing it. So it's not so bad on them for being, they're not there. They don't live there. So it's really not that big of a deal. So we just kind of go through our processes and get it handled. But we do work with the customers on a timeline, showing the work that we're doing on the kitchens and the bathrooms. So the project manager really works with them to limit the disruptions of their daily schedule during the process of doing the job. Where do we choose the material? What do we need to decide? Okay, so in the process of what we're going through in the contract writing and trying to determine what kind of work you're wanting to have done, we will provide you what we call a vendors list. We have a bunch of vendors that we deal with, and we get some price breaks because we use them so often. So we'll introduce you through a vendors list that we'll provide to you, and then you can kind of go through with the project managers or your sales reps, and they can work with you with the vendors to help you to determine what kind of material would be best to help you use on your project. The vendor list is a great option for suppliers that we work with. But of course, if you have material or vendors that you want to use, we'll be glad to work with them as well. We're an easygoing company. We like to make it work for everybody. All right, question number 8 is, who will be in our house? So on our jobs, we're always gonna have a project manager that's gonna be at the project. He's gonna be the guy that's gonna be your front running person. He's always gonna be at the job. He's not gonna stay at your job 24/7. He's just gonna make sure that the right people are gonna be at the job site when they're supposed to be at the job site. So the guys, it depends on the calendar schedule, who's gonna be on your job. All of our guys they have their liability insurance, they have their workers' comp insurance. They do not work for TCW if they do not have those requirements. We also let you know that all of our guys have been working with us for years. We occasionally bring in some new guys, but they end up being first with us for years. Then after, we still have to rotate, but most of the time, we have the same guys that have been working with us for years on our projects. So these are all good guys. These have been working for us for a long time. They've got their workers' comp insurance. They've got their liability insurance. They're licensed contractors that are coming in to do the work. Question number 9, what is the payment schedule like? Now, that's a great question. So at TCW Homes, we have figured out the best way that works for us and the customer. So a lot of other contracting companies will come in, they're gonna ask for a 25, 30, 50% up front to start the project. We used to do that years ago, and it just seems to add a lot of stress because they're having to cut a check to a stranger to speak of. They've only known for 6 weeks while we're putting a project together. And here's a check for 30% of your project. And it's just like, there's a lot of stress that's involved. So we've actually come up with a really great process of, we just charge out. We set a weekly payment schedule that's put together that is specific to your project. For example, if it's a 12-week project, what we're gonna do is we're gonna take a final payment, the carrot on the end of the stick, a comfortable number that the customer is comfortable with, and leave that as a final payment. And then we take the balance of that and we'll divide that into 12 weeks or to 10 weeks. So at that point, we'll take that weekly payment, and we invoice out on Friday and collect on Mondays. And then that covers until the next Friday and the next Monday. So we do that for a couple of reasons. One is we like you to hold your money. If your money is in your pocket, it reduces the stress level. And that's always great, because we're already doing a stressful thing in your house, and we don't want that stress to be involved into an already stressful project. The other thing that it helps us do is it helps us us, when I say us, I'm talking about the customer and TCW know kind of where our schedule is and where our price points are as we're going through the project. So it really makes it easy. It's been a very, very great setup that we've put together to help the customers be comfortable in working with us. And one thing I will note, that if for some reason, if we're doing a big job and we're waiting on some material and we're not on your job for a week, though we don't like that because we like to be on a timeline, but circumstances always change, and sometimes we can't be on a job for a week and we don't feel like we need to collect any funds, the project manager will come into the billing department and say, hey guys, I don't want to bill Mrs. Smith this week. We've had a slow week this week. We didn't get a lot done. We're waiting for windows. We're waiting for a tub. We're waiting for different things that have put a halt on the project. When that happens, then we just actually won't bill out that Friday for the following Monday. Or if we do bill out, we'll put a note that says, this is a postponed payment. The project manager will let you know whenever it's due. So then they'll probably use the setup for a week later. So we do that because it takes the stress level out. If you're holding your money, you're not stressed. And we're only collecting enough money as we're going through the project, as you can see what we've done and what you've paid are in line. And we find that really works out really well for us. The last questions, how do we keep the project on budget and on schedule? Now that's a fun question. That's a difficult question. As I was saying before, you kept hearing me talk about maybe we don't get some material here, maybe the guys got sick, or they got in a car accident on the way in, because nobody's ever got in a car accident. They got caught in traffic, in Atlanta traffic. So with that being said, we understand in our timeline, and we're building stuff, or when we're scheduling out a project, we understand, and we kind of build in some of the things like that to with expectations of some of that to happen. We're really good at sticking with our contracted timelines and our budget as well. It's one of the things that we're really known well for, is keeping our projects on time and on budget. They don't always happen. It's not from the lack of trying. It doesn't always happen, but we're always there for the customer. A lot of times a customer will ask us to do extra work that wasn't part of it. It's, oh, since you were here, can you go ahead and just do this other bathroom? Or since you were here, can we just go ahead and not do this countertop or this kitchen design? I saw this on TV and I really like that, so now I got to completely redesign the kitchen. It takes a couple, 3-4 days. There's just all these little bitty things that it's better to do it while we're there to make our customer happy, but that also adds time to the project. So it does get pushed sometimes, but we charge based upon time on job, and based upon a weekly rate, as I talked about previously. We'll tell a customer it's a 10-week project. We charge for 10 weeks. If the customer changes the project, the scope, and adds to the scope, then it extends it and we collect from there. But if it's not their fault and they haven't added to that and we're on it for 12 weeks, we work 2 weeks for free. We don't charge out on that. So it's really important for us to stay on our schedule. We don't make money working for free for 2 and 3 and 4 weeks outside the timeline. So we really, really thrive on staying on budget and on timeline. You trust us as professionals to give you the price point in which it's going to cost, and we are the professionals going to give you a true price point. So we're not going to give you a price and say, hey guys, this is going to cost you this much money, and then you sign a contract based upon that, and then you go, I messed up. I think it's going to cost this much more money. We don't do that. Us as professionals, we're not supposed to mess up, and if we mess up, that's not your fault, that's my fault. So why do you have to pay for that? So that's one of the things that we do, is we really stick to our budget. If for some reason we've missed a number or a typo or something in the project, we've swallowed a lot of pride on projects like that. It's not fun, but it is what it is. We do what we say when we say we're going to do it. So I just went through 5 questions on this video, and I went through 5 questions in a previous video. And I hope these answered some questions for you. This has been a great opportunity to kind of go through this, and love seeing the response that we're getting from our videos and the questions that they're being asked. So anytime y'all got any questions, feel free to send us send us a like or question or whatever on the video, and I'll be glad to answer any questions for you. It doesn't matter what kind of questions. We've done it when it comes to residential renovation work in the Atlanta, Decatur, Brookhaven areas of town. So you call us and we'll make it happen for you.